Hey YouTube, this is Tom at TM Aquatics and it's time for a fish room update. So stick around and check this out. Alright YouTube, we're going to start out here in the rec room and then we'll make our way back to the fish room. This is the planted 75-gallon LERS jungle tank, and I talked about this in my most recent video. And I'm going to be moving my L494 Plecos that I just picked up from Eric Bodrock into this tank, and that's going to happen in about a month. But with that being said, all of the LERS are planned to come out. I'm going to be getting rid of 90% of the plants that are currently in this tank, swapping out the substrate, and really converting this into another Pleco tank basically. So really don't want to spend a lot of time on there. I have a ton of crypts back here that I plan to get rid of. All of the dwarf sag has to come out, a couple small Amazon swords, regular Amazon, a couple of red melon or red flame swords. Those are going to come out. All the crypt spirellus is going to come out. The only plants I plan to keep are the Anubias and maybe a little bit of Java fern that's in here, and some of the Bucephalandra. So anyways, this tank is going to go through a major change, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see what it turns out to be like. But enough on this tank. Let's head over to the red Severn tank. All right, so here we are at the 120-gallon red Severn tank, and there's been two changes. And if you notice, there are no longer any roseline barbs or denison barbs, roseline sharks, whatever you want to call them. I had 6 large roseline sharks in here. They were about 5 inches in length, and I got rid of all of them. In my opinion, the tank was just getting a little too crowded because the Severns are just getting so large. And honestly, those roseline sharks just caused too much hysteria. Anytime I approached the tank, they would just freak out, swim into the sides, try jumping out of the tank and hit their head on the lid. And I just wanted it to the tank to be a little calmer. And that has happened now that I got rid of them. But I also added a bunch more of my Corydoras. I added my group of 10 Corydoras Cycri, so I now have 7 Agassizes in here and then 10 of the Cycris. And the Corydoras Cycri are the lighter ones with the band across their face, so there are now 17 Corydoras in here. There are a few Plecos in here as well. I'd still like to rework this area down here, make it a little more Pleco friendly, but right now that is not on my the top of my priority list. The pair that is broken off down here, still no spawns from them, just a lot of shaking and bacon and courtship behavior. I have not seen them drop any breeding tubes. I've not seen any spawns, but I'm hoping now that the 6 roseline sharks are out of the tank, I'm hoping that maybe that might help trigger these guys to spawn. I don't know. But anyways, enough on this tank. Let's head back to the fish room where we have a lot of things going on as well. Alright, in this 20 long, this is my L134 Leopard Frog Pleco grow out tank. It's a bare bottom tank. There's about 30 L134s in here. With that being said, I just added 10 more in here. They're small, they're not ready for sale. They're only about 1.25 inches. The other ones, I'm keeping 12 to 15 of them myself, so that really leaves about 3 or 4 available for sale at this time. I only ship United States Post Office Express shipping, and I don't really offer priority shipping with these just due to the value of the fish. And I am looking into doing some airport to airport air cargo shipping with Southwest Airlines. There's just a few steps that are involved and a little bit of financial obligation I need to take care of for a TSA background check, it sounds like. But I am offering a few of these for sale on the getgills.com website. If you're interested, check that out. Again, I only offer express shipping, and the fish are selling for, I think, between $50 and $55 a piece, which is standard price for them. That's actually lower than several places like Discus Madness and some other places, but consistent with other people with fish rooms like myself. So if you're interested in these, check them out on getgills.com. But these guys look absolutely phenomenal. All right, down in this 20 long here, right underneath the L134 grow out. This tank has just been used for a bunch of Bloody Mary culls. I do have some baby shrimp in there, and a couple of the adult culls are in here right there, center frame. That one center frame now, that's actually was born and raised in this tank. There's a bunch of new little babies in here as well. But yeah, nothing more really going on with this tank. I might actually be using this tank for a new Pleco breeding project coming up, maybe in about another month or two. I just haven't decided if I want to pull the trigger, but it would be a much lesser known Pleco, and one that probably 99% of you are not familiar with. But very unique Pleco, doesn't need a lot of space, and just not sure if I want to move forward with that or not. But other than that, I just have a bunch of Anubias Nana Petite and a few pieces of Boos in here, a couple pieces of Windelov Java Fern, and yeah, not a lot really going on in this tank. All right, and down here in my 29-gallon quarantine tank, and yes, I have substrate in my quarantine tank, I don't want to hear it. I do have 3 new green laser cories that I plan to add to the other 12 in the 40 breeder breeding project. I also put my Santa Claus Dumbo Ear Guppies in here. There's a trio in here. I'm tired of them. The females keep eating the fry, and I just don't have the time to really try and breed guppies in this fish room. So put them down here because I needed that tank they were in for other things coming up. And I will actually be selling these fish here in the very near future. Now I also have an L260 Queen Arabesque Pleco in here, and that's down in that breeding bell right there, that bell cave. And I picked that up a while ago, back on the 30th of March, and so it's been in the quarantine now for about 3.5 weeks, and I was hoping it was a female, but it actually looks like it's a male, so you know, what are you gonna do? Picked that up from Quality Aquatics, my LFS, and then right there is one of the brand new, you can see one back there as well by the sponge filter. That is actually one of my brand new L494s from Eric Bodrock at All Oddball Aquatics. That one back there kind of looks funny, looks like it has a hole in the tail, but it doesn't. Yeah, those new L494s, they just absolutely look phenomenal. And I wish you could see the coloring on these. They're really starting to color up and get a lot of orange coloration on their fins. But if you haven't seen that unboxing, I'll post it up above in a card. And at the end of this video, check that out. But I picked up 8 new L494s, which are a lesser known Pleco, but an absolutely stunning fish. There's another one back there. And again, I picked those up from Eric Bodrock at All Oddball Aquatics, and very, very happy with those fish. All right, so up here in the 33 long are my L46 Zebra Plecos. There's 8 of them up here. There's a couple up there in that homemade slate Pleco hide. There's also a big fat one down here in the cave. Underneath these rocks, there's usually 3 or 4. They really like tight places with a lot of current. And I do have quite a bit of water movement in this tank, but these guys are doing great. I'm really optimistic that I have both males and females in here, and I hope that by the end of this calendar year, or I should say within the next 12 months, I hope we get our first spawn. Now that might be a little ambitious. They do take you know, 2.5 years really before they reach sexual maturity, but absolutely a stunning fish, and I am really glad that I paid the money to pick up, you know, my all-time favorite Pleco. Definitely worth it. So anyways, let's keep moving. All right, underneath the Zebra Plecos is my group of adult L134 Leopard Frog Plecos. I have had 2 spawns this week, and they both took place in this cave here with the bad dad, and he ate both spawns instantly. And really unfortunate. Both females were very large, very egg bound, very gravid. I'm sure they were huge spawns. I'm sure they were 40 plus eggs easily. And yeah, he ate both of them. So I do have another breeding male up here in this chocolate cave. And he is the good dad, the dad that gave me my world record Pleco spawn in the fish room. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the action from the girls like the guy down here does. So I might end up pulling him and putting him in a different tank for now, forcing the females to this male up here. But with that being said, I really don't have the room or the fish tank capacity to be really growing out, you know, 100, 200 L134 fry. So in some way, it's almost a blessing that that male is eating some of the eggs, because I would be overrun with L134s right now. Up here on the tank, I have 2, and that'd be a good problem to have. Don't, you know, make no mistake. But up here in the breeder box, I do have 6 L134s in this breeder box here. That was out of one spawn. And then out of this spawn, this was my world record spawn. And we'll see if we can get a closer look just to show you how many we have in here. So there were 38 in the spawn, and one did die. And then I culled another one. It looked like he had a blockage in his intestinal tract, and he was just really bloated. It wasn't bloat, but his intestinal tract got blocked or twisted somehow. So I gave him a while to try and clear that. He was just only getting worse, and honestly looked like he was going to explode. So I just culled him. And you know, sometimes it's what you got to do. But the fry are all doing great, and you know, between the 2 fry boxes here, we have over 40. And yeah, good problem to have. Down here on the bottom rack is where I keep my L333s, Porto Damas. There's also some L333 black and yellows from a breeder. There's juveniles in here. There's actually 5 juveniles. One's a black and white, the other 4 are black and yellows. No breeding activity. Most of my adults are males. There's only 1 confirmed female with another that is a suspect of a female. The juveniles, there's one underneath the driftwood right there, just way too small, way too young to sex. And I guess we'll see what we get out of that. I have thought about maybe getting rid of the L333s. I really could use this tank for some other things, and right now they are my least favorite Pleco in the fish room. But you know, when I see these tails hanging out, it's like, nah, I just can't do it. They are really a cool looking fish. And my red guppy colony is coming back with a vengeance. I'm starting to get some really nice males in there. I might do a little selective breeding with these. They don't eat their fry like the Santa Claus Dumbo ears do, not as aggressively anyways. And really had this line of red guppies, red albinos, they were starting to wither away. So just did a little bit of culling and a little bit of selective breeding, if you will, and the group looks like it's starting to come back pretty nice with a couple of real nice young males in there. So anyways, looks like this is back to the road to recovery here with this group of guppies. And again, not a huge focus in the fish room, just more or less dither fish for the L333s. Alright YouTube, we're going to end part 1 right here. Check back in another day or 2 for part 2 of the April fish room update. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.